What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB.
Eat it, Jericho. Eat it. Put it in your mouth. Oh, alright, you want.
And we're going to keep doing this 12 Days of Christmas idea that I decided to do. And this time I watched Bad Santa 2. I watched the first Bad Santa so long ago. I mean, years and years and years ago. And I really enjoyed that film. I thought it was fun and crude and lewd, but all in all of the best ways possible. So it was great. And when they announced, and there was a trailer and everything for Bad Santa 2, well over 10 years later, I thought, maybe it could be good. But for whatever reason, I never watched it until now. This is a 2016 film directed by Mark Waters. And honestly, I watched it and I can't say that I liked it. You know, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't the worst thing ever. I mean, some of the Christmas movies that I'm watching as a part of this 12 days are so much worse that it's hard for me to sit here and complain and bitch and rant and rave about this being a steaming, stinking pile of dog shit. But I also can't pretend like I love the movie either. It's nowhere near as good or as funny or as enjoyable as the first Bad Santa. I would definitely confidently say that this movie did not need to be made, and it's not really worth having to be made. It just felt like we took so many steps backwards in order to get the movie made in the first place, and we never rose above what the first movie was able to do. For example, Billy Bob Thornton. Is he a likable actor? Yes. Is he very good at playing a piece of shit scumbag of a character that still at the end of the day has a heart of gold? Yes. He did that in the first movie, and he does that here. The problem was that we saw so much growth in his character in the first film. And I'm not saying he has to be the nicest guy ever now. He can obviously still have certain shitty characteristics that still make him likable, but he regresses probably even worse than the first film, just because the writers feel like we have to do that. We can't do anything else with this character, right? You see that he broke up with his girlfriend, or maybe she left him, I forget. But they're not together anymore. And I always hate when movies do that. It's like you see him get with the love interest from the last movie. We spent all that time having them to get together, only for the sequel to just not even have her here. You just explain away that, oh, they broke up in between movies. It's one of my biggest pet peeves about sequels is that. But I did appreciate that as far as the dynamic, he's a piece of shit to this kid. I say kid, he just turned 18, I believe. It's the young kid from the first movie that he took under his wing and reluctantly became a father figure. Back then, the kid was very young, and maybe you could say it was a more charming dynamic because he was so young. Now that he's older, it's the same kid too, the same actor grown up. So that was cool, but it made me dislike Billy Bob Thornton more for how shitty he was to this kid. This kid is clearly on the spectrum. They said that. I'm not just pulling that out of my ass. And he's so innocent and loyal to Billy Bob Thornton for no good reason, because he's treated like shit, and it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch that kid be treated like shit for no good reason in some of the situations that they put him through. I mean, sure, everything all kind of comes around at the end, but still, I'm like, I don't know. You could have made this dynamic better. You could have probably had more fun with this, as opposed to me just every time I go, fuck Billy Bob Thornton. Like, seriously. There's no reason for why he talks to him the way that he does. Tony Cox. They brought back Tony Cox, who turned on him at the end of the last movie was a real piece of shit, like untrustworthy guy. I know it's a comedy, but okay, so in this movie he gets out of prison for that and just goes right back to working with him? Huh? What? Again, I know it's a comedy, but it's a lazy thing to just let's just redo and rehash that same dynamic that the two of them had in the first film. Like I don't mind Tony Cox being here, but what a waste of fucking time. Especially when you get to the end of the movie and it's like, oh, what a shock. And yes, I'm spoiling it. What a shock. Tony Cox is once again fucking him over. He's once again tricking him. What are we doing? I just thought that was really dumb. Really, really dumb. Also, we get introduced to Kathy Bates. And this might be the most laughable thing about this movie, but not in a good way. Laughable, it's a comedy, but not as if the movie did this in a way that's supposed to be funny. Kathy Bates is playing Billy Bob Thornton's mother. They are 7 years apart in age. She's only 7 years older than him. And not only is that dumb, but when you look at them together on screen, she does not look that much older than him. I honestly, when I saw it, and I said, wait a minute, she's supposed to be his mom? And I'm sitting here waiting for, I'm waiting for dialogue to say, no, she just took him in under her wing as a kid. No, she just raised him, but maybe she's like an older sister or an older. I couldn't believe they said mother and they were sticking to the fact there's a picture in the apartment of him looking like he's 10 years old with Kathy Bates. So they're trying to pass off that she's more older than him. What the fuck? And maybe it's because Billy Bob Thornton looks older than he really is, although he's in his 60s and like I say, she's only 70. So it was weird. I couldn't really buy that dynamic for obvious reasons. I think it was worth it enough to have Kathy Bates here because I like Kathy Bates. So I like seeing Kathy Bates in comedic type stuff. So that was fine. As far as laughing, I probably only laughed like 2 or 3 times tops. And I mean like good laughs. I did laugh pretty good at those moments that I laughed. There were several other scenes and several other jokes that did not make me laugh though. And I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or I don't know if it's probably more likely because this movie wasn't as funny as the first film. Because I do find crude humor funny. I do find crude humor to be something to where it's welcome. I don't think we have to completely sanitize comedy to where you can't make inappropriate jokes and not have it be welcomed. I like that. But just, this felt so much like it was trying so hard to be crude, and it didn't feel genuine. It didn't feel like it was coming from an actual good place. I was rolling my eyes at a lot of the humor. I was rolling my eyes, especially at Christina Hendricks, who she's the head of this orphanage or whatever type place that Billy Bob starts working at, and they're obviously trying to figure out how to rob the place eventually. But Christina Hendricks, it's like there's the side plot of her being married to Ryan Hansen, who I remember seeing a lot and stuff back in the day, Veronica Mars and several other things. But it was just random. Like she's married to the guy, but he doesn't treat her well. They don't have sex, and she comes across as like this respectable woman. But Billy Bob finds out that she likes to have sex in dirty, disgusting ways. So they eventually start hooking up. And that's kind of their thing, is that they just sneak off and hook up and talk dirty to each other. And it's supposed to be funny, but I didn't find it funny. I just kind of thought like, all right, Christina Hendricks, she's hot. So sure, fine. But every female that's worth a damn wants to sleep with Billy Bob Thornton. Of course, that's the case because he's the main character. Octavia Spencer has a random cameo as a prostitute in this movie, and that made me feel so bad for her. I mean, she said yes, so fuck me, right? But I just thought, what are you doing here? You're so much better than this. I thought. Yeah, overall, I guess it's a mixed bag. I guess there's a part of me that found a couple of moments funny, but overall, I don't think the movie's all that worthwhile. I think if you watch the first film, enjoy the first film, leave it at that. You don't need to watch this at all. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below if you too have seen Bad Santa, Badder Santa. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!